Buenos dias. Live from Hotel Mazante in Managua, Nicaragua. It's 10:30 in the morning here. Thought I'd give you guys an update on the latest developments. One, I had a little downtime yesterday, so I decided to go ahead and preemptively get some additional copies of paperwork. So not on my immediate list. I had to get confirmation once I was here from other expats that had recently done this. I need to get a background check. If you look online, often you're told to do the FBI background check. Well, the FBI background check, one, is time sensitive. It's only good for 90 days. And two, it only lists potential offenses in the United States. Nicaragua wants to see an Interpol background check. So if you watched my prior video, I said I went ahead and did the FBI background check just because I wanted to see how well it worked. I will give credit. The FBI background check system is very efficient. You do it online. You have to confirm an appointment with the post office, which I bragged about. The one thing they did efficiently was their live scan process. You have to schedule an appointment with the post office, go there, get your fingerprints, and you have an approval email in your inbox before you leave the post office. But again, it was nice to get it done just to see how well, two different branches of federal government, and one federal, one pseudo-federal, were efficient in providing a service that's primarily needed in the States. It's of little to no use here. So, Interpol background check. I found out I needed 3 additional passport photos. I got 4. I needed 3 individual copies of my passport demographic page, as well as a copy of any pages with entry-exit stamps. And lastly, I needed 3 copies of a photocopy of my driver's license front and back on a single page. So I looked up online, found a place online that could do all of that. I got in the InDrive. I got to the location. They were still open, but they did not provide any of the services that were listed on Google. It's a roll of the dice. Nothing against the owner. It's not his fault that the information on the internet is inaccurate. Luckily, there was a place to do passport photos a whopping 100 feet from my first destination. And young crew, they did a phenomenal job. I got my passport photos done in less than 15 minutes. And very inexpensive. I believe I paid under 100 cord. I mean, you're not paying much. So like $3 to get 4 passport photos. It was very inexpensive. Most prices you see quoted are about $5 US a piece. So I was expecting to pay like 20 cord. And no, not even, 180 cord. And it was only like 100. So kudos. And then I asked about the color copies. They didn't do it, but the business right next door does do it. So I go to the business next door. They made all my color copies, again, under 100 cord, and I was out the door. So on Monday, because I've also heard it takes roughly a week's turnaround, I wanted to complete this paperwork while I'm still in Managua. So I have to go on Monday to the Interpol office with all of these documents. I will be paying a fee of $30 US exact. I don't expect to see change. And because it was stressed $30 US exact, I'm not going to try to pay in court. So I will go there. I'll bounce between 2-3 offices, and they'll tell me to come back in roughly a week's time. That will be my international police background check. Again, now time sensitive, good for 90 days. I have just over 2.5 weeks left here in Managua before I transition over to a little comfy vacation-like spot over in Granada for 2 weeks. And then I get to do the transition over to Matagalpa, where I have the condo, a 1-bedroom, 1-bath condo set up in the center of the town for 3 months. Once I get to Matagalpa, I will be sourcing an attorney for various services. Now, you don't have to have an attorney to do your residency, but due to my lack of Spanish skills, I don't know the area, I don't know the laws, I don't know the procedures, and just because it's posted somewhere on the internet doesn't make it valid. Could be obsolete, could be old information, could be wrong information. I'm going to go ahead and utilize an attorney for my residency, even though I've done most of the legwork with my paperwork. So my supporting documents, I had to have my birth certificate, I had to have statements on my reoccurring income, that would be my state pension, my VA disability compensation, my Social Security disability compensation. I had to have all those documents notarized and or apostilled, which I took care of while in the States. It's very difficult to do that from overseas without spending a lot of money and a lot of hope. I will be posting that video I've alluded to about the difficulties of getting this done stateside for myself. But with that being said, the documents I needed here was the health certificate. If you do one from the States, that's nice. It's time sensitive, only 90 days. And it doesn't necessarily meet the needs. I figured I'll go ahead and put a little money in the local economy, see a local doctor, and I had additional questions about my medication. So that all knocked it out of the park. So the health certificate in country, the background check in country, and roughly $500 US for the application fee for residency. All documents I have need to also have an official translation into Spanish. Now, the medical certificate and the Interpol background will already be in Spanish, but I have to pay for an official translation of the birth certificate with its apostille, both transcribed, and my 3 pension letters that are apostilled, translated, along with the apostilles being translated. So once I have that done, there's an application fee, like I said, $500. There's an ID card fee. There's a couple small ancillary benefit fees. I will actually have to physically go down to Managua to submit this application, wait. At some point in time, if it looks like I'm going to be approved, I will have a very short notice that I will have an in-home interview where I'm staying with the immigration office, which is Migracion. The immigration, Migracion is the pronunciation. It will be done entirely in Spanish. So I know I can't have an interpreter there. I believe I'll be able to use my translator apps and or my Time Kettle translator earbuds. But basically they want to know that you're a good fit for staying long term. I should not have any problems with my documentation. I far exceed the minimum income needed to be considered a good incoming resident. I don't have any warrants. I don't have any background problems. My health issues aren't contagious or a risk to public safety. It's rheumatoid and such. I don't think I'm going to have a very long time waiting for my residency. So Matagalpa established the attorney to go ahead and submit the paperwork for me to give me the warm fuzzy feel that it's all being submitted correctly, and help find that first long-term lease in the Matagalpa area. I'm hoping I can find that relatively quickly and possibly do the Migracion interview at the long-term lease, because I need to make the quick 2-day trip back to the States at the end of March. I'll do that before I ever have this appointment. But I have a scheduled flight back in June, and I'm really hoping I have the long-term lease established by then. I can leave some stuff here locked up while I'm back in the States for 2-3 weeks. When I come back, it's time to buy appliances, it's time to buy furniture, ensure that I've got my electric, my water, all those things established, and I start the next page of the new life. The downside of what's happened recently. So during my communications about medication, at the moment I'm having some I'm having some difficulty with the VA getting the additional medication that I need, because one of my doctors who has seen me on a regular basis for a couple years now has stated that due to public safety and VA policy, she can't treat me while I'm overseas. That in part is correct. They cannot provide direct medical service to somebody outside of the United States at that time. But plenty of expats who are veterans will go do their annual physical at the VA once a year and spend the rest of their time out of country. Whether or not they use the VA's foreign medical program, which is not a great program. The foreign medical program sounds like, oh, it's an extension of the VA healthcare. In fact, it's supposed to be. However, the difficulties of getting reimbursements is they will only potentially reimburse for the service-connectable disabilities. So if you made a certain tier of disability rating with the VA, you have no out-of-pocket medical expenses, whether something was directly caused by military service, aggravated, or not. At the moment, my rheumatoid arthritis is not service-connected. I have that on appeal with the VA, and I probably won't see a resolution on that for at least 3 to 5 years. In the meantime, that medication for rheumatoid that cost me $0 through the VA, or almost $1,300 a month here in country, I can only get up to a 90-day supply of that medication at the moment. And the doctor, I'd proactively asked to get blood work done when I come back in June to see, because I'm already going to have to reduce my medication frequency to every other week, which is a standard dose for most people. And the doctor said, well, even if he does the blood work, I won't be able to treat him while he's overseas. So there's a little bit of breakdown in communication, because plenty of snowbirds see different VAs, multiple VAs, and have private doctors. So I have an understanding of the misinterpretation. I don't understand why there's a misinterpretation to begin with. I am not required by law to only have one physician assisting me in my health care, dependent upon where my zip code is. So my hope is I at least get the 90-day supply, which I will then make last 6 months, pick up what is currently 10 doses to make 20 weeks, and I should just scrimp by long enough until I return in January, and then have a different issue next year. But at least this year going forward, I'd be able to facilitate needs. And my hope is going forward, I'll only need to take that med every other week and not weekly like I have. I've done fairly good on it weekly, but if I have to potentially pay $1,300 a month out of pocket for a medication that costs $0 through the VA, which I have an eligibility, I'm really subjective, or really reserved on using the word entitlement, but I do have an entitlement to that medication due to my diagnosis that has been confirmed, treated, and maintained by the VA, to ration my health care due to my zip code is going to be an unacceptable response by me, and I will probably have to scream at politicians like I've done in the past to get myself this far. With all that being said, I'm probably going to go out to a rock bar tonight. There's a place called Mammoth Bar here in Managua. I see they do some loud rock bands. This whole country's about live music and Tonya beer and Florida kind of rum. Well, I don't get to enjoy the rum or the beer. Nothing says I can't enjoy the music with a couple fresh squeezed juices or a bottle of water, maybe even a seltzer water. But I'm going to go check out some of the weekend culture. I did make it over to a restaurant yesterday on Valentine's Day before people got off of work, and I saw it fully decorated with all the hearts and everything, and I looked out because Friday is a payday, and it was a couple's holiday, so I managed to get in and out while traffic was building quickly and got back to the hotel by 5 o'clock. I'm about to go grab my weekly laundry service in the hotel here. I can get about 5 days worth of clothes washed for about $10 US. So with that, that was my quick update. If you're wondering why so many of these are done in the room, one, if I go outside next to the pool area, the music, other people, children going about, if you know anything about YouTube, it's advisable not to have children in the background. Just out of personal privacy, I don't try to film other people without their consent. And with the language barrier, it's kind of difficult to walk around to 20 people around poolside. Is it okay if you're in the background of my video? I'm just trying to be the courteous tourist, soon to be a resident. And with that, adios.